Hey guys, today I wanted to talk about a couple of plugins that I'm using in a recent mix session for a client. In particular, the submission audio plugins that I have here. I'm using two in this session. This one that you see on the screen, PunkBass. It's a well-sampled Fender bass, which is great for things like commercial rock and punk type stuff, in my opinion. So we have that here, and then the other plugin is the mastering clipper called Flatline. So I'll just go over how I use these two and what settings I use in this mix. But first, I'll go ahead and play a little clip of this song. It's not out yet, but here's the chorus, or one of the choruses. Let's dive right in and talk about what the bass is doing. As you could see right before on the screen, it was just the DI setting. And I just have the roll right here, which I printed down to audio afterward, but I'll show you what it sounds like as a DI. Sounds like a DI, but I love that it's in tune and it's stable. I don't have to worry about peeking at every little note, make sure it doesn't go slightly out of tune and stuff like that. So it's a real stress reliever, especially since you know you have to have a super pinned down complementary tone with the guitars. So what I did is threw on an instance of Parallax, and I did basically this scoop sort of sound. You can check the settings right here, even duplicate them since it's the same exact tone if you had PunkBass yourself to start with, and fairly straightforward. Two mics, a condenser, and a ribbon on the cab, the virtual cab. And yeah, I printed that down, so that's what you see here, the waveform right below it. And then I'll disable that, muting that. Here's the printed audio with a couple of plugins on it. Real quick, I'll play the instrumental. Cool. So, real quick, the plugins I used after I bounced the bass down is the Pro MB to basically tame the second order harmonics and the sub. Well, this is technically first order harmonics, I guess, because it's like about 100 to 200, give or take, and then just the subs being pinned down so it doesn't feel like it's kind of wobbling or jumping out of the mix in certain notes or just certain passages. So you can see certain notes engage one band a little more than the other. I just want to have that low end a little bit tighter. And then after that, just a simple EQ, which is doing basically nothing. Yeah, minus 0.4 dB at 2K. Probably was just adjusting the distortion sort of area, which is hovering around there. Yeah, right between 1.5 and 2.5K is where it's focused. Also, a quick thing to note, when I do go to the verses, I did a separate PunkBass bounce, and I just wanted a separate track so I can have the level be different and also have a little bit of a different EQ. So it kind of tames it more. I like a nice bass contrast between the verse and the chorus. It'll be the same MB settings, but the EQ is a little bit more drastic, so it can tame the frequencies a bit. And also, it's, as you can see, minus 1.7 dB. It's just a number set by ear. So you can get a little contrast between when you have the verse bass and the chorus bass again. So if I went from one to the other. is it. That is the bass tone on this song. So I love that you don't have to do much. And then the second thing we have, last but not least, is the Flatline plugin. So that's the very last thing on my submix or master chain, whatever you want to call it. And again, it's a very simple layout as well. I just set the clipper so that it achieves the level that I want and also not introducing artifacts. It's chopping off exactly what I want it to, which is why I also love that delta button, because you can hear how it's interacting and what it's chopping off when it starts engaging the clipper. So you know it's not like actually going into the actual information like the vocal and stuff. You hear that it's chopping off actually like transient information as opposed to vital mid-range information or something. So in this mix, the threshold is set by ear. I don't really aim for a specific sort of RMS level or LUFS level. I just want it to feel like it's competitive. And then the shape, again, just use your ear. There's hard clipping and soft clipping depending on if you have it 100% or 0. So one really glues it together, but 100% is the complete opposite. So I just felt like giving it a little push out of that completely hard clipping. Just felt pretty good. And then, yeah, I have dithering set to 24-bit because why not? And that's the gist of it. So yeah, that's the rundown of the Submission audio plugins I use. I think they're great, and I really recommend people get them because they're easy to use, very practical, and I use them in actual like client mixes. So yeah, I hope you guys found this informative and enjoyed it, and subscribe for more stuff like this. See ya.